Now let's talk about PowerPoints. Now, PowerPoints are the most powerful, points in the game and allow for the most control over the game itself, what's happening in the game, even the meta of the game, like the world you're in, all sorts of stuff. PowerPoints are extremely powerful. They can be spent at any time, and there's something to really think about when you're going through the game. Sometimes when you're in a really bad spot, you sort of forget about PowerPoints, but you got to know that they're there. Now, it's important to state here at the beginning that PowerPoints are kind of they're very difficult to get back. You only get PowerPoints during holiday and birthday games, and that's it. You get 25 PowerPoints every time a holiday or birthday game comes about. So use them sparingly, use them wisely, and I'll go ahead and show you the PowerPoint chart here. It's right up here, this part of the character sheet, and I'll go through what some of these do. So don't worry about Empower Other yet. I don't know why I have that at the top, but if you want to re-roll your own dice, like you're all out of exiles and all that kind of stuff and everything's on the line, you can spend 50 PowerPoints and re-roll your own dice. Okay, here is something that people use a lot, is no location of yourself. You spend 5 PowerPoints and you'll instantly know where you are on the planet. Also, you can know location of an object that you own. You spend 5 PowerPoints, you instantly know the location of that object. You can find people. Generally, if you're looking for a bad guy and he's a boss, you're going to be spending 50. Someone's going to be spending 50 PowerPoints to know where they are. This is the one that is used the most. Telepathic call for help. You spend 5 PowerPoints and you name a person, who's usually an NPC, but not always, who's not with you, and they will know that you need help and where your location is. Now, they might not be able to get to you fast enough to save you. They might not have the means to travel, such as teleport, and they might not care. If you're naming an NPC under telepathic call for help, the game master is going to take into consideration, does this NPC like you? Have you treated this NPC well? Are they going to care that you're in danger, that you need help? Sometimes I actually roll a dice 20, and the higher the roll I get, the less they care, and they'll just let you die. So, be sure that when you're doing a telepathic call for help that you're actually calling somebody who's going to care and be able to get to you. Incredible strength, that's physical strength. It's 5 PowerPoints for every save number plus 1 for strength. And we need to go over strength a little better because I haven't gone into a whole lot on strength. But basically, it makes you stronger. Incredible focus. This is the most powerful thing you can buy with PowerPoints that nobody ever buys. You spend 25 PowerPoints and it will give you a plus 10 one time to any roll that you need that you need focus on. That can be an attack, that can be picking locks, that can be acrobatics, you're reaching for a rope or you fall to your death, anything like that. If you're in a medieval type world or science fiction, whatever, closing portals is kind of cool. It's like, oh my god, this portal opened up and all these Atari are coming through and they're destroying New York City. No, you spend 20 PowerPoints, bam, that portal is closed. Strike gives you plus 1 dice, 20 damage. You spend 10 to seed it, and then 5 for each 1 dice 20 you want for damage. Again, extremely powerful. Nobody ever uses it. You're fighting the bad guy, okay? Let's say he's the boss. He's the boss's boss. And you're pretty sure you filled his boxes. The game master doesn't tell you when the boxes are filled on the bosses, but you're pretty sure you filled the boxes. And so you spend all of your luck on your roll, and you spend all of your outer body luck on their roll, and you roll really well, and they roll kind of crappy, and you get a double critical on them, and you want to kill this guy. So what you do, if you remember, is you come in and you spend 20 or 30 PowerPoints to get a bunch of 1 dice 20s to add damage. That gets compared on the critical chart, and then they're much, much more likely to have, say, a negative modifier because of pain or bleeding out or stun or anything like that. So something to think about. Also, block. You can do this after you roll. You can go, oh my gosh, I didn't block this guy. He's awesome. He's powerful. He's got the strength of an ox. He just hit me in the head. And he only hit me by 2 points, but I'm out of covert strength and I'm out of everything, and all my friends are out of covert strength. They can't help me. Well, so you come in here and you spend 12 power points and now you've blocked him. How difficult is that? This is cool. You go and bury an object in the consecrated ground of your personal god, and this works for any world. This isn't just for medieval. This could be high tech or it could be espionage or anything like that. You spend a point of covert strength, and the kind that recharges, and you spend 15 power points, and that object comes popping right into your hand. Again, you can add initiative, magic resistance, mental resistance in case you're being attacked by a psionic of some kind. This is fun. Nobody ever uses it. Spend 10 to 50 and something just appears. And I usually roll randomly for it. This is actually spent quite a bit. Sometimes I'll have a suggestion and I'll say, hey, I have a 10-point suggestion, and somebody will spend 10 points and I'll give them a suggestion on how to get out of there. GM favor is kind of used a lot. 25 to 150 power points. It's actually used a decent amount. You're like, okay, I really need more horses. Can I get more horses? And I'll be like, if you want it as a GM favor, 35 power points, I'll give you more horses. Something like that. Colossal GM favor, 250. Yeah, that's a big one. Keep in mind, I haven't told you this yet, non-humans, everything but humans, get 250 power points to start with. Humans get 300. So you could be spending every power point you have, and keep in mind, those are maximums. You cannot have more than 250 power points if you're a non-human. You cannot have more than 300 power points if you are human. So you could be spending absolutely everything you have for a colossal GM favor, and that is something like, I want to stop this volcano from erupting. I want you to take my entire party and move them to the other side of the planet and out of this stuff, that kind of thing. Delete, add, modify is the coolest and funniest one. At any time during gameplay, a player can say, stop, and everybody stops talking. Well, okay, keep that in mind. It's for this power. Sometimes you got players who tell you to stop talking, and it's just because they want to interject their own thing, but that's neither here nor there. They tell the game master to stop. They then take the last sentence that game master said. They spend 200 power points, and they can delete one word, or add one word, or change one word to another word. And the game master must make that sentence true. And I will give you an example of a time that this was actually used. It's been used a few times. They were fighting, the party was fighting, I think it was a witch. It was a super powerful witch, and she had invisibility. And, one of the player characters said, where is she? And the NPC, who's controlled by the game master, says, I can't see her. And the player went, stop. And he spent his 200 and he changed it to, I can see her. So, game master had to make that true. All of a sudden, the NPC could see her, he could point her out. They ended up being able to kill her. That's been used a few times, and usually to good effect. This one is brand new, and it's similar to delete, add, modify. You spend 100 points, and you could add the word almost to a single sentence. Same thing, you have to tell the game master to stop. You use the last sentence the game master said, or it can be, it doesn't have to be the last, but like the last two, we'll say, in case game master is rambling like I am now. You can add the word almost to a single sentence. You can put it anywhere you want, but the sentence has to make sense. It has to be grammatically correct. And if it is, then Game Master has to make that sentence true. this hasn't been used yet. I have been stopped, and they have gone over. And remember, once you say stop and the gameplay is stopped, everything is frozen in time. You can take as much time as you want to go, consult with the other players, try and figure out, write the sentence down, try and figure out for an almost or a delete, add, modify. I'm pointing to it with my finger on the screen. Either one of these, you got a lot of time, If you want to take 10 minutes to figure out what you want to do, go ahead. But I have been stopped once for an almost, but it didn't make sense in the sentence, so it couldn't be used. And I didn't charge them for it. They weren't charged for it. But I'm trying to see, this is in beta. I want to see how well it works. I want to see if people abuse it or anything like that. Keep it in, take it out, maybe raise the price, who knows. But PowerPoints are extremely powerful. They allow you to keep a game master from railroading the game and taking them where only he wants you to go. And they're used pretty effectively. And again, I will tell you, you start with 250 PowerPoints, and that's your max if you're a non-human, and 300 PowerPoints if you are human. And man, they're awesome. They're amazing. The reason that I give more to humans is because I want to incentivize people to play humans. Humans seem kind of boring, and they don't have the awesome racial bonuses that a lot of the other races have. So I wanted to say, hey, if you're a human, not only are you getting more PowerPoints, but you're also not restricted on what categories you can get. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to start with a bunch. You'll start with a few, but you can take absolutely anything, whereas some of the other races are going to be restricted on what attribute categories they can take because it just doesn't fit, their race. That maybe they're too lumbery and they're not agile enough, like a busk. So they're never going to be able to take very flexible or contortionist or anything like that because it just doesn't suit their race. But humans can be any of those things. So again, that's why more PowerPoints to humans, kind of incentivize them with that. So look over this chart a lot. If there's any downtime or like somebody's taking a long time on their turn and you feel like spacing out, check out the PowerPoint chart because there's a lot of good stuff in there, and you will eventually get them back if you're a long-term player. So especially, July, there's a bunch in there, and around New Year's or Thanksgiving and Christmas, you get PowerPoints back. So be sparing with PowerPoints, but try not to be too shy with them because, man, they can really make for interesting gameplay. Now, I would like to just cover one more thing that's relatively important, and that is, what if a birthday or a holiday game starts, but you're already maxed out on PowerPoints, okay? You're a human and you've already got 300, and you're supposed to get 25 more. Do you just lose them? Well, no. You get those 25, but you have to spend them by the end of the gaming session, okay? What most people do, if something doesn't crop up that's worthy of PowerPoints, what they usually do is just convert 20 to 1 to experience points. And then you get however many experience points for the PowerPoints that you have left that'll take you back down to your max.